I returned to two of my favorite comic book shops and picked up some real nice comic books. Stay tuned as we go over this comic book haul. Welcome back, comic book fans. This is Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and in today's video, we're going to go over comics that I picked up from two of my favorite comic book shops. One is local to me in the Baltimore area, and they were having a big 50% off sale, while the other is on my way down to my home down in West Virginia, and they are becoming a regular stop for me on these trips that I make down here to check in on my property down here. And as you can see, we're in a different location right now. This, of course, is still in my West Virginia home. I just changed up the studio setup a little bit. And as you can see in the background here, you've got some of my dad's old collected comic books that he had. He was not, I wouldn't say he was a big comic book fan, but he certainly did buy a lot of collected volumes, mostly low price things. And as you can see right over my shoulder right here, there is a line of some of these collected Carl Barks and Don Rosa, Donald Duck and Uncle Scrooge books. I'm going to have to dig through those. In fact, I think I'm going to take one of those Don Rosa books and maybe have him sign that at the Baltimore Comic Con. Now, when this video comes out, it's probably going to be either a week, 2 weeks after the Baltimore Comic Con, and I'm not sure where this is going to fall in the schedule, but right now, as I'm filming, we're about a week out from Baltimore Comic Con, so I hope that I got a chance to see you guys there. I know I'm pretty excited about the con, and we'll do a video on that. We'll find out if I was able to pick up that Hulk 181, or did I have to settle on lesser keys. My plan for that con was to, well, at this point, is to trade and maybe a little bit of cash, and see if I can work my way up to a raw mid-grade version, or copy of that. But there's definitely other books on that list, and I'm still working on that 2023 goals list, and there's still a number of books on that list that will be fine as well, but this is my second chance this year at a big con to hopefully get that Hulk 181. I came this close twice down at Heroes Con earlier this year, and we'll see if we can make the deal happen this time. I'm hoping when you see this video that I will have already obtained that, but we'll find out. Like I said, I don't know when this episode's going to appear, but I hope you enjoyed the Baltimore Comic Con video, because I know I'm going to put out at least one, maybe a daily recap. I don't know what's going to happen at this point. When you see this, of course, this is going to sound silly because you've already seen probably most of those videos. But I hopefully you guys like this video, so definitely give it a like, hit the subscribe, and definitely hit that notification bell so when I put out these episodes every Monday and Friday at 10 a.m., you're alerted and you know when the shows are going to air. So hopefully you'll join me in those. I try to do a lot of live chat while the show is going on, although the last couple of weeks leading up to the Baltimore Comic Con, I had to kind of postpone that because I was just so busy getting ready for the con. But I will be back on live chat. Hopefully when you're watching this, I'll be live chat and we can be talking at the same time. So anyway, guys, stay tuned. I'm going to pull up the books here, and we'll go through the books I picked up from both of these comic book shops. All right, so the very first comic book shop we'll go over is the local one to me up in Parkville, Maryland. This is Collector's Corner. This is a shop that I have highlighted on this show multiple times already, and this is no exception. And I continue going back up there because they continue to have sales, and this was a good one. This was a 50% off of just about every comic book that they had. In fact, I think it was 50% off every comic book. And one of the things that they do there is they will run sales on comics and all their toys. And I tell you, this is a great toy shop, guys. I just have never been able to shoot footage there because there's always people in the store, and it's really not a lot of space. And I don't want to shoot anything with the comics and getting people in there. So I have never shot footage there, but I do pick up good books. And like I was saying, they'll do a sale, and usually it's 35%, 40%, sometimes 50%, but they will put a caveat, an asterisk, that it's for any books dated before a certain date. And what they do is they put the price stickers on there, and it has a date on there. And sometimes you can still pick up some really good books, and it's worth, when they have a sale, going through the back issue bins and maybe finding something that's been dated before that. So this sale, though, was 50% off, and it's been a few weeks. It's probably been over a month since I've done this, and I've been sitting on these books a little bit. So I can't remember which holiday it was. It wasn't 4th of July. What was it? It wasn't that far back. Anyway, point being is it was 50% off of everything. And this is the time to go because I've never seen them do a sale bigger than this. And they always have some really good books in their case. And I went up there and the idea was, okay, let's take a look in the case, see what big books are in there. Let's see if the conditions are good. And then we'll ask them to get it out of the case. But before I did that, after checking the case, I was going to go through the bins. I want to go through every one of the bins to see if there was any smaller keys in there as well. And that was just in case that they didn't really have anything else. I wanted to cover all bases, big and small. But this is time to take advantage of that big discount and pick up a big key. But there was some stuff in the cases, and I said, okay, let's go through the books, let's go through the bins, and then we'll ask for help. So what did I do? Went through the bins, and I ended up, I kind of had my eye on a certain book, and if I knew I was going to spend money on it, it was going to be a little expensive, and I didn't want to load up with a lot of smaller stuff. So what I did was I ended up picking up 2 smaller books here. Neither one of them are really big keys, but they're really nice condition, and one of them is a pretty cool book to begin with, and I've seen it talked about on multiple channels, and that is this right here. It is Justice League of America. This is, which issue? This is number 10 from 2007. You've got this Power Girl Michael Turner cover, and doesn't get much better than that. And like I said, I've seen this book on multiple channels where they talk about this being a really good book, but, and I'm sorry about the light. The light on this West Virginia location is not that good, so I apologize for the glare and everything. But they talk about this being one of these really good Michael Turner covers, and I don't disagree. This is awesome. Anytime you get Power Girl on a cover like this, and by a pretty renowned artist as well, that's pretty cool. And I don't think there is a lot of value in this. I looked it up, and honestly, it wasn't worth passing along that information, but they had a $10 price tag, so I paid a whole $5 for that. I can't go wrong with that. The next is another book that goes along with one of the last hauls that I made from this store, and I picked up a whole bunch of these books, and I either overlooked this one or maybe I looked at it and didn't think it was worthy, but for 50% off, I definitely was going to take this for $2.50. This is Commandy, Jack Kirby's Commandy, number 11, if I can show it to you without the glare. And I picked up probably about a half a dozen of these Commandees the last time I was in, including, I think, issue number 2. So surprisingly, even at 9.8s, these aren't, I mean, you got to get a 9.8 on any of these Commandees to be worth anything, except issue number 1's the exception, but the rest of them, unbelievably, even 9.6s don't command that much money. I'd have to go back to my old video and look at that and listen to that again to see what the prices were on that, but I remember that it just fell off the cliff, and that's really surprising with this 1970s book. Even at a 9.6, it just really wasn't commanding a lot of money. But as I said, I didn't want to spend a lot of money on minor keys when I had my sights set on a bigger book, and they had a bunch of stuff in the case, and I think I ended up looking at, I looked at that Action Comics that has the first cover appearance of Death in the mainstream DCU by David Finch. And it was one of those that it would have been a good second book to pick up if I was going to do a couple books, but there was a little bit of a tick that I didn't want to feel like dealing with. I didn't feel like dealing with a book that was not going to grade out as high as I really had hoped. And I said, let's go for the book that I really want, and that's this right here. Detective Comics number 880. Got this wonderful Jock cover. I've never owned this, and this is a very, very nice copy of this. And I ended up spending, and if my wife listens to this, I know she's going to yell at me, but they had a $260 price tag on it. I did pay $130 for this, and I felt like that was a really good deal considering the condition of this is fantastic. So this is definitely a grading candidate, and who knows, by the time I get to Baltimore Comic Con, I don't know if this is a book that I'll have ready by that time, but I will talk about that in that show, and you may have already seen that by this point. So we'll find out if this one actually goes to CGC at Baltimore Comic Con or is something I'm going to submit later on. But that was a really good book, and I take it back. I actually ended up buying 4 books. I forgot that I had a 4th. I picked up a pretty new comic book that had just come out, and I had went on the weekend on Sunday when they were having a sale. The sale was already Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I might have missed out some good keys and everything, but the new comic book day for that week on that Wednesday had this right here. And this is a book that I didn't have on my pull list at my other LCS where I have my pull box, but I probably should have, because I had seen and met the writer on this at, what was it? It was Free Comic Book Day. They had, this LCS had the writer there for this book, for that copy, and now the first issue is finally out. It is from Titan Comics. It is Conan the Barbarian #1, and of course I'm talking about Jim Zub, who wrote this. But what really stuck out to me, and in fact when I met Jim Zub at Free Comic Book Day, we talked about the art. In fact, I had never seen it until that day. I'm standing in line to get him to sign something, sign his copy of the book, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow, the artist is channeling John Buscema in this. So, and he even acknowledged that it really was a throwback. The style that they're doing is very much like the John Buscema Conan. So that was pretty cool, and I did kind of wanted to pick up a copy of this. So I did pick up 4 books from this. This was not half price. I think new comics were not half price. That was about the only thing. But the fact that I was able to get this right here in the condition that it's in, just, that was awesome. So did really good. I think I did really well when I went to Collector's Corner up in Parkville, Maryland. If you guys get a chance and are in the Baltimore area, I recommend going to the shop. Especially with the toys, vintage, new, anime. I mean, they have a ton of stuff. And they actually have a lot of really good comics. You'll have to dig through the bins, though, because nothing's in order. You can literally find runs of comics, and it won't make any sense at all. It's all over the place. But it's fun digging. Most of the time, I don't like digging through that kind of thing. I like it to be a little bit organized. But to be honest, they've got so many good books that every short box that I dig through has some good things in it. So you won't be disappointed if you end up going to the Collector's Corner in Parkville, Maryland. They also have another store. I'm not sure. Right now I'm thinking, and I think it's up in Bel Air, Maryland, but if I'm mistaken, just call me out on that. Just leave me a comment in the comment section if I'm wrong on that. But hopefully you guys will get a chance to check this store out, and I know I will be back pretty soon. All right, guys, so the second shop that I was talking about at the beginning was a shop that is on my way down to my home down in West Virginia. Now, I'm here in West Virginia right now, but I did not stop on this trip. This is from the previous trip. But we stopped in, my wife and I ended up picking up some pretty decent books. Nothing too major, but I got some keys in here, and I got some fun books. A couple things to read, a couple things to spec on, and definitely something at the very end to get signed at the Baltimore Comic Con. Again, by the time you see this, I'm hoping to have this issue signed at this point by this artist. But I will show that to you when I get to that book. But let's just go through the books. And I want to say that Chris, the owner there, is a really nice guy, and it was just him, myself, and my wife, and it was nice. My wife and him had a great conversation while I got to dig through the bins and go through the walls, and ended up with a nice handful of books. And I don't remember. I know he knocked the price off of some of these books and gave me a pretty good deal. It wasn't all that expensive. I want to say I didn't spend more than about $50, maybe $60 on this, but let me just go through the books. That's what we're here for, right, guys? So I ended up picking up Black Widow #3. This is the second Black Widow, and it's just a regular book. This is one that I just wanted to read. I had not read this Marvel Max series at all, so I've been picking up a couple of these just whenever I run across them. I'm not really on the lookout for them, but that's a reader. And this is something that I didn't read when it came out, even though the art is fantastic. I don't know why. I think it was probably because I had pulled away from DC Comics an awful lot. In fact, for the longest time, early 2000s, even into the teens, there was only really a couple books I was reading. Anything with the JSA and anything with the Secret Six. And everything else, except when they reintroduced everything to the New 52, I did buy a bunch of the first or second, third issues on a lot of things. But generally, those were the only books I stayed with. And so this book kind of just got left by the wayside. And in the recent videos, in fact, over the last probably couple months, I've been picking up different copies, different issues from this 12 issue. I think it's a 12 issue maxi series. But let me just show it to you. This is Justice number 11. Of course, what I'm talking about is the Alex Ross art. And boy, is this a spanking cover with Sinestro and the Green Lantern. Of course, this is a homage to that first, I think it's the first Sinestro cover from Green Lantern. That wasn't his first appearance, but I think that was his first cover. Anyway, that was just a great issue. Again, this is a reader. I've been picking these up, and I'm going to read this at some point, but just fantastic artwork. I ended up picking these up, and I probably will take them to get signed. Maybe I actually have the second of these two. I actually already have signed, and I'll talk about that. But it is Lady Rawhide number 1 and number 3. Yeah, number 3 out of 5. It's a miniseries from Topps Comics. And the artist I'm talking about is the cover artist. It's Adam Hughes. Now, I never had the first issue here, and I got to say, for an Adam Hughes cover, that's probably not one of my favorites. But number 3, however, that is one of my favorite Adam Hughes covers. I have got this copy signed by him, and the inker on the interior was Jimmy Palminotti. And I've got him to sign this as well. I got him to sign this at Heroes Con last year, not this year's, but last year's. So that's just a really nice copy. That's one of his probably, I don't know, it's one of my favorite covers from Adam Hughes. And for $4 and $5 a piece, it's not a big deal, but I probably will take that as well. Adam Hughes will be at Baltimore. Maybe we'll get him to sign those as well. All right, now this was nothing special, except how do you pass up a Darwin Cook variant cover on anything? I mean, we don't have Darwin Cook anymore. He's passed away, but his legacy lives on. And I am sorry about the light, guys. This is awful. My lighting in West Virginia here is awful. But this is which issue is this? Let's see, which one? I've got it written down there. It is, I'm reading my notes that I've got in front of me here, and I'm having trouble seeing it. It's number 37. And just take a look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I bought that simply because that was Darwin Cook. Now, Darwin Cook is somebody that I've met. He had been to Baltimore Comic-Con at least once, and I got him to do a little sketch card. It was a quick sketch, but I do have that in my collection. All right, now we get to a couple books that are actually worth a little bit if you can get those 9.8s. And can't pass up really good copies of Simpsons Comics number 1. And this right here, it is first time Damian Wayne is on the cover. This is Batman, 657. And we'll see if this actually did pretty good. I had a 9.8 of this that I sold. And here I go again, getting the comic back in my PC. I'll still spec on this again. This is a book right now. 9.8s have come down to about $130. I think I sold mine for probably about $170. But I'm not sure if this is still considered a big key at this point. I know that they're introducing Damian Wayne in the DCU at some point, and we'll see if we'll see if that spikes this at all. But that was a really nice book. I don't mind having that one in the PC. You got this wonderful Andy Kubert artwork right there. That's just absolutely gorgeous. Kind of go back and read these Grant Morrison stories, and they're actually really good. All right, the last book I ended up picking up from the Secret Lair was, and did I even say the name of the store earlier? I'm sitting here rambling, talking about the comics. Did I even mention the name? It's a Secret Lair down in I was going to say Charlottesville, but that's a different store. It's down in Harrisonburg, Virginia. And I'm sorry, guys. I'm blanking and I didn't mention the store's name earlier, I apologize. But this is The Secret Lair in Harrisburg, Virginia. And the last book I picked up was this right here. It is The Astonishing X-Men number 43. And I don't care about the book, but I care about the cover because that is a really nice Art Adams cover. And Art Adams will be in Baltimore. And I'm hoping this will be signed as well. I talk a lot about getting things signed, but what will determine that is just how much money it's going to be costing to get all these signatures. And I've got a short box that I don't think I'm going to get everything signed, but I do have everything ready to go. And it is about 3/4 of a short box. And some of those things in there probably won't get signed because at a certain point, I'm just going to look at the money that's probably going out, depending on how much the artist charges. And I probably will pull back on that. So I've definitely got some Art Adams stuff to get signed. This right now is very high on the list, but we'll see if this makes the cut at the very end, depending on the cost. But we'll see. So that was the haul from The Secret Lair. Guys, let me know what you think about this store. If you've been there, have you visited the store? Let me know by leaving me a comment down in the comment section below. All right, guys, so that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this comic book haul from both of these comic book shops. The Secret Lair in Harrisburg, Virginia, and Collector's Corner up in Parkville, Maryland. Both of them have really good shops. I hope you guys give them a chance. And if you do, let me know by leaving me a comment in the comment section below. And if you guys are ever interested in any of the books that I pick up on this channel and show off, definitely just reach out to me at collectorauctions@yahoo.com or DM me on my Instagram account. You can also check out what I have currently for sale on my eBay store or my Shortbox page. So that's it, guys. Enough of the sales pitch. I'm out of here. I will see you for the next episode. And remember, guys, every comic has a story.